What's up guys, Claydragon29 here. So now I'm going to be looking at the Dragon Ruler deck that I made in my first video. It's basically just one that I whipped up in about 10 minutes before dueling someone, and I was pretty happy with it, and so I just went ahead and dueled, and it turned out to be just perfect. So I'm going to take you through all the cards, and basically I've already shown you some of the combos, so I'm just going to take you through some other stuff that this deck can do. So we'll start with, I guess, the baby dragons compared to the mother dragons. So each of them has the effect that you can discard this card and another dragon, or whatever type it is. So there's wind, fire, water, and earth, to bring out the kind of mother dragon. So with Tempest, you're bringing out Tempest, the wind incarnate, then you bring out Tempest, the storm incarnate. Burner brings out Blaster, Stream brings out Tidal, and then Reactan brings out Redox. So that's their effects. So they're pretty good. Just so basically discard. So say you discard Tempest and Burner, and then you can bring out a Tempest from your deck. That's basically their effects. Then the Mother Dragon. So they all have two different effects. So they all have the same kind of first effect, where if it's in your graveyard, you can banish a total of 2 of the type that it is. So fire, water, wind, or earth, or just any dragon type monster from your graveyard, except the card that it is, and special summon it. So like Blaster could banish Tidal and Tempest to bring itself out from the graveyard. And another effect, so if you do that though, at the end of your opponent's turn, it will return to your hand. So you want to make sure you try and XYZ summon before then. Then there's the other effect where you can discard this card and a fire monster to the graveyard, then target one card in the field and destroy that target. So I don't really use that effect because I find it's better just to bring him out. But in a lot of Fire King decks or like Fire Fist, they use that effect because it's quite handy. And its last effect is that if he's banished, you can add one fire dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. So it could be Blaster, or that could be Burner, depending on which one. So they all have that same last effect and first effect, but it's the kind of middle effects that change. So the first and last effects depend on their typing. So for Tidal, it's going to be water, and then wind, earth. Yep. So we're going to move on then to Tidal's second effect. His second effect is that you can discard this card and one other water monster to graveyard to send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. Now this has become really popular with Treeborn Frog decks, so Frog Monarch decks, and then also Mermail and Atlantean decks. So it's become really handy, and it just is constant milling of the deck, and also discarding cards from your hand, which is really good for Mermail. So it's a really handy card. So Tempest, I kind of explained about with Dragonides. It's really good because you can discard this card and one wind monster to the graveyard to add one dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. So I think really the only decks that kind of use it these days are Dragonides or actual Dragon Ruler duelists. But yeah, I definitely recommend, if you're running a Dragonid deck, to run Tempest, because it is an incredible engine to be able to use. And then Reactan's effect is that you can discard this card and one other earth monster to the grave to target one monster in the graveyard and special summon it. So basically it acts as another monster reborn by doing discards. So that can be really handy to bring out other monsters. So yeah, so they're the extra effects of those monsters. So that's the mother and baby dragons. Now we'll move on to other monsters. So Maxi and Effect Veiler, basically just in there for draw power and then negating effects, but Effect Veiler can also be used with Dracosack's effect to bring out tokens, to then go into Ancient Sacred Wyvern, which I've explained in other videos is a very strong card. I'll go into spells and traps now. So Heavy Storm, pretty obvious. Treasure Sword of the 7 Stars is really good because it will banish one level 7 monster from your hand or your side of the field, draw 2 cards, and activate 1 per turn. But basically, what that does is all the mother dragons have the effect that if they're banished, you get another dragon with the same type as them to your hand. So basically, it just gets you another dragon for the cost of just, like, you draw 2 cards and get that other dragon. So it's almost like drawing 3 cards for the price of banishing 1, which is excellent. Dark Hole, pretty obvious. Gold Sarcophagus is actually amazing in this deck because you are banishing the card first, which means its effect activates. So you get a free draw from it, and then in 2 turns you get that card anyway. Monster Reborn, pretty obvious. Super Rejuvenation, great way of recharging your hand because you're doing a lot of discarding with the monster effects. So yeah, that's a very good card, and I recommend that you have that in the deck as well. We go to the extra deck now. So Crimson Blader and Stardust are basically in there for Effect Veiler, synchroning with one of the Mother Dragons. Can be kind of handy, just depends on what deck you're up against and depends on the situation, whether you need to do it or not. Same with Ancient Sacred Wyvern, you know the effect. And basically just depends really on what situation you're in and whether to play it or not. Gaio Abyss is basically only used if you've got 2 titles because of the 2 water types, and it can actually be quite a good lockdown card, but it's very situational getting 2 titles out on the field at the same time. So normally I just bring out Dracosac because of its effect where once per turn you can detach an XYZ material and bring out 2 Phantom Beast tokens. Then once per turn you can you can tribute a token to destroy a card in the field, but then Dracosac can't attack, so that's really handy. Gaia Thunder Charges in there if I run out of Dracosac and Big Eye basically detach 1 XYZ material to take control of an opponent's monster, and Big Eye can't attack that turn. Then just for a bit of fun, I added in Lucky Straight. Just because I didn't really find there are any other monsters I could really put into the extra deck, and Lucky Straight can be actually quite good because of his effects that he can do. If you actually get 7, and you get 3 chances of going for 7, so you know it's not a half bad monster to chuck in there just in case. And I've actually one time I was dueling a Monarch guy who had Obelisk the Tormentor out in the field, and with Lucky Straight I was able to actually get 7, and I drew 3 cards, discarded 2, and then Lucky Straight had 4,200 attack points, so enough to actually beat Obelisk by battle. So it can be a very handy card. But yeah, that is the Dragon Ruler deck that I have used, and it is a very consistent deck, very strong. I have won probably 90 to 95% of my duels with it. So yeah, highly recommend that you, if you're gonna run a deck, to try and copy this model because it's a pretty standard model that people are using. I mean, the extra deck is a bit different, but you can change the extra deck to whatever way you want. So yeah, that's all pretty much. So just subscribe to my channel, and yeah, just give me your suggestions on what decks I should make and maybe what stuff that I should review and duel with. So yeah, Claydragon29 signing out.